What's going on, people? We right back up in this joint. More proof that the masks do exist. You know what I'm saying? Had to take a break from that because that shit was mind-blowing. I ain't gonna lie to you. But, we got to talk about more than just this subject because there are more subjects to talk about. But at the same time, this mass epidemic is very real. So let's get straight into it with proof right here.
We've all seen masks like these in movies like Mission Impossible, but they have made it out of Hollywood and are being used to fool people in real life and even commit crimes, like this masked bank robber in California.
The police were looking for someone of a particular description, and it later transpired that they'd been looking for someone who was totally different.
To learn more, I spoke to Rob Jenkins. He's a psychologist who has published studies looking at facial perception using hyper-realistic masks.
Can you talk about these experiments you've been running in recent years?
Shout out to Conscious X, by the way, because he broke this down. He brought us to our attention, with the body suits and all that stuff like that. But this is more stuff I've seen. So
these hyper-realistic masks break the connection that we've all become used to between
that look like a mask. You can tell that's a mask.
And identity. And we were interested in whether people are getting away with that kind of concealment because people just aren't paying attention. They don't see any reason to be looking at a particular person's face, or maybe they're just not expecting to see something like a highly realistic mask.
Exactly.
And so it doesn't occur to them.
Because you got a real face. What the fuck is you putting a mask on?
Or if the masks really are so realistic that they just pass for regular humans. And
Look at that joint.
We wanted to test that more formally. We had this computer-based task where we're showing people pairs of images on screen, and they just have to say which one is the mask. Now, we've done that in a couple of ways. One is just kind of at a glance, so it's to model the sort of situation where someone walks past. We're talking like half a second or something, and they just catch your eye. And we did that because we thought this task might be too easy, and we'd just see everyone's performing perfectly. Right? That wasn't the case at all. So people were terrible at making these discriminations when it was a brief presentation. So we decided to make it easier on them and just say, okay, you can take as long as you like. And when they're given a...
You see how they speaking in codes? Like, some people cannot differentiate the mask from the real face. So they putting it in plain sight. They making more clues. They making it more obvious. Like the slits in the eye, that's not natural. So all that type of shit, you know what I'm saying?
As long as they like. That improves performance a little bit. But they're having a really hard time and giving us the wrong answer to this seemingly simple question on about 1 in 5 trials.
That's actually one of the reasons I find this so interesting, is that we're evolutionarily programmed to pick up on facial cues. It's so much of our social interaction, yet you have these masks that aren't necessarily 100% realistic still fooling a good amount of people.
What if whole time you met a motherfucker, whole time they had a mask on? That's how crazy this shit is at this point, because people is wearing masks like that, you know what I'm saying? Higher up individuals, you know what I'm saying? Playing roles, different roles, that shit crazy.
Humans are social animals, and so we rely very much on getting whatever insight we can into each other's mental states from our appearance. So we can tell if someone's following along in conversation, we can tell if they're cross with us or pleased to see us or skeptical of what we're telling them. And we need to do that. We also need to be able to connect it to particular individuals so that when we see them again, we can remember what happened last time and behave accordingly.
And this isn't necessarily for fun and games. There's actually been some reports of these being used in crimes to conceal identity, right?
We started to notice a few years ago that we were seeing reports in the news of things like bank robberies where, say, the police were looking for someone of a particular description.
And it has been done.
It later transpired that they'd been looking for someone who was totally different from the appearance of the actual culprit. So we're talking things like totally different age, maybe different race, different gender, that sort of thing. And so you can see how that kind of misleading of the investigation could really get things off on the wrong path. There was a case in the United States where there was a string of bank robberies that CCTV footage showed appeared to be carried out by someone in their 70s or 80s. And this figure gained a kind of anti-hero status online, known as the Geezer Bandit. And so people were following him, and, to some extent there was some cheering on of this pensioner who was sticking it to the man, and he almost got caught on his final job. So he was escaping on foot from the scene of the crime, and apparently ran off at such great speed that people watching started to wonder if this really was someone in their 70s or 80s. And at that stage, opinion started to shift towards, okay, well, this looks as if it could be someone much younger wearing a mask.
You notice what he said? He said act accordingly. So when you putting a mask on of that age, you're gonna act like an old man. Yeah, to fucking play that goddamn role, man.
That's putting us off the scent.
I think what's really interesting with that bank robbery case is the disconnect between what people thought of for his face.
Who knows who the hell that was?
For his ability to run, which old people don't do very well. How might that disconnect be playing out when people are making these judgments about how a person might be able to move?
If we want to improve detection of these masks when they're being misused for criminal activities, part of the solution might be to look for other cues that conflict with the signal you're getting from the face. There could be mismatches in apparent age.
See, these masks look fake. They got other masks that look way more real than that.
The face looks very old and wrinkled and haggard.
That one can sell, depending on what they put on there.
So there are a number of
that one right there, they put a little makeup on it,
that are not directly to do with facial appearance, but exploit the facial appearance in conjunction with other messages that you're getting, and that sort of conflict could be a part of the detection story, I think.
These hyper-realistic masks aren't anything new. We've seen them in the movies, but what seems to be new is that the price has been coming down quite significantly. Can you talk about maybe the evolution of the industry here, how this is becoming more available for regular folks like us?
I think this started off in Hollywood special effects industry, and there were a few craftsmen who were masters of this particular form of artistry and were involved in sculpting and monster making and all the rest of it. And they developed these techniques using various materials over the years. They started around $600 up to $1,000, maybe $1,500. So I have one here that's kind of an old favorite, this one. So as you can see, it's made of this silicone material. Silicone is very
I noticed the eyes. See how the eyes be pushed back? That's why some of these people, their eyes be pushed back. That's not natural.
The idea, of course. And it's not what most people think of.
That's a giveaway with the mask.
Because it's a single piece that goes right over the head, down the neck, and over the shoulders. So there's no visible join at all. So each one is hand painted. Everyone is unique, but you see all the details, like little freckles and all the wrinkles are there. Each one is hand punched with human hair. So in this case, eyebrows, there's a bit of ear hair there for a number of years.
Put the mask on. I see it. Someone with the mask.
Some people are really, really good at that. And in security and forensic context, there's increasing interest in being able to screen for those people so that you can assign people to tasks that involve face recognition who are naturally good at that and tend not to make mistakes. Whether you could do the same with this new task of detecting synthetic faces is an open question, but it's one that we're looking into.
Thank you for showing us your real face today.
Ha! That's what you...
Look, and that nigga had a goddamn mask on at the beginning, trying to be funny and shit. Shit is wild, man. Shit is wild. Like I was telling y'all, the mask, you know what I'm saying? Even Gucci coming out talking about, I would not deny or say that is real. The mask type shit. Shows a man sleeping in his bed. I don't want to see that. I think I seen that the other day. I ain't even worried about that. But as you guys can see, even with this right here, Mark Zuckerberg, the doppelganger, like his face changed different. Look at the ears off top. So it's like people in masks. Look at this. This is a mask. This is a mask. Look at this. What?
We live? Yep. Hello, everybody.
I just want to drop more proof because some people don't believe the mask is real. Look at these masks, bro. Now these is realistic. Look at this. Hold on, let's fast forward.
To retain the translucency
That looks real.
of the silicone
These are all silicone. I guess I should mention that. Mismatch of body to whatever head the individual is wearing. And it's kind of a terrifying thing. But
that's why you match it with the right skin tone and shit. That's what they do. That's what they do.
Or maybe even a little terrifying. But overriding, it's masks that I would like to wear. And I've the customers that buy them, you know, thankfully feel the same way.
Okay.
That answer that?
Yeah. Why?
What the fuck are you acting so weird? What did it say?
I think they have more of a punch if they're topical or humorous, or maybe even a little terrifying. But overriding, it's masks that I would like to wear. And I've the customers that buy them, you know, thankfully feel the same way.
Okay.
Recently, I've moved over to fancy schmancy technology. But before I was doing everything traditionally, where I was doing a clay sculpt. Here's a couple of the original ones. There's Tyson. It's kind of fun on him is I actually drew the tattoo on the sculpt, and then when I did the mold, it lifted off onto the mold, and it then once it's on the mold, then it's easy to then paint it in to the right location on the mask. You got Tyson. You probably don't recognize.
In a case where it was a damn doppelganger of Tyson. He committed like a crime or some shit, and Tyson was in a whole another location. It's like, who the hell was that? They look exactly like him. So it could have been a person that looked like. Nah, I don't believe that, because they had the tats and all that. So it was a goddamn mask. This shit's crazy out here. You know what I'm saying?
This guy without any hair, but this is Ron Jeremy.
See, he ain't done nothing. He ain't not done.
Anyways, so yes. Clay sculpture, that's what I did, traditional molding casting. But now I've recently moved in, last year and a half, to doing computer sculpting with a program called ZBrush. And
look how you're looking all crazy.
I will take that file, turn it into a 3D mold, and then print it on a 3D printer. And printer I use is the Luzbot 5. It's this amazing machine. It's got a big print area, which is kind of difficult to find in the kind of low-end consumer market. But generally I'm able to print anything that I need to print in the front side of the face and then the back side of the head. Let's go to...
See, making it look realistic. See, this guy's just like telling a little bit. He's just being weird though, but you know, let's speed it up a little bit. I'm trying to see more stuff.
Made the process easier.
Well, this is proof right here of the math. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, let's see more stuff now.
You can also learn that information from the Stan Winston School.
This man got a Tyson mask. He got.
No, I don't use this for fine work. This.
What's that one show? Damn, I forgot the name of that show. He got a baby mask. He got the one dude.
Work, you use.
Man, they got a lot of masks. A lot of well-known faces right there.
Sewing needle. And you break the tip off, creating a little fork, and then you can put it.
So you know he said he's like to wear a mask. He's like, this is the mask like to wear. That's what he said out of his own mouth.
You actually punch one hair
look how realistic that
to whatever thickness of hair you have. And one thing I'll do on my masks is I'll actually paint the scalp like a darker color. And you can really, you know...
These people crazy.
Cheaper version of your masks for, you know, Halloween costumes or anything like that.
This is not no Halloween.
A word I don't want to be associated with what I do, but that said, I realize there's a lot of people that can't afford a $4,500 mask.
$4,500.
I'm entertaining that idea, and I'm still trying to figure that out. what would be a price point that would be acceptable? How would I produce something that would be of, you know, a quality that I would still be proud of? You know, maybe it wouldn't be done by me at all. Maybe I would outsource it to somebody, but yeah, you know, and then what would that price point?
So basically, this guy's not trying to sell a mask if it ain't got that price stamp on there, because like there's a lot of work being put into it. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of deceiving that comes behind that. So we ain't gonna get into this too long. I think that's long enough. But yeah, man. Shout out to the subscribers. Just wanted to show you guys that the masks do exist. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get right back to y'all with another video right after this. So peace and love. Y'all already know. Peace.